So anybody with cool season grass this time of year, one of the things we're often going to see is fungus. A lot of it when we come into August. More particular, the one we're seeing that we're going to be talking about today is lawn rust. What it is, what causes it, and how to get rid of it. So lawn rust, what is it? Essentially what it is, it's these little pustules that form on the leaves of the grass plant, and the way it forms, believe it or not, is when the soil doesn't have enough nitrogen. You're either not getting enough water, you're in a drought, you're getting heavy rains, you're getting a lot of cloudy days, a lot of sunny days, really anything. So once you get into a point where the lawn is very vulnerable and very stressed, that is where it's going to start. So once one of these factors or weather patterns start to present themselves, these pustules will form on the blades, and they look a little brown and spotty and rusty, if you will. Now, once it starts, it needs to be stopped because it is prolific when it comes to spreading. What happens is when you walk on the lawn or you mow the lawn or really do anything that involves traffic on the lawn, any form or fashion on a diseased area, it will easily spread because what will happen is when you walk on it, you're going to burst those pustules and spores are going to get all over everything, orange spores, if you will, whether it's walking on the lawn, mowing it, what have you. So these are the spores that come from the pustules being busted on the rust, as you can see there, and it just gets all over your equipment. And the thing with this stuff is once it gets on your equipment, it's pretty much prone to spreading everywhere. Now, in this situation, if I only had one property that had it, what I would do is I would wash this off before I go to a property that doesn't have it. And if there's nothing to intervene or stop that, it's literally going to spread to non-infected areas, and it's going to infect those areas pretty quickly. So that is how lawn rust forms and how it can get worse and take over your lawn in a matter of not even weeks, but days. It can literally just take over the lawn. So prevention. How can we prevent lawn rust in the lawn? Well, if I'm being honest with you, there's really no particular way to prevent it other than getting down a bulletproof fungicide application. Now, one of the ways you can do that is you can take a product from our shop like the azoxystrobin and the propiconazole. You can mix them together and spray the lawn and do it around that mid to late July time frame right before the disease starts to show itself. In addition to that, making sure you have a well-balanced fertility program will help you somewhat, but from my experience, if you spread it by accident via footprint, there's really no way to prevent it even if you have a well-balanced fertility program, but it is a good way to reduce some of the damage, if you will. So anyway, this also goes back to the conversation we've had about irrigation. It's very important that your irrigation is dialed in correctly because one of the things that a lot of homeowners don't seem to realize is that when your irrigation isn't dialed in correctly, your irrigation can actually play a big role in the breeding ground for that fungus, because when you water at night, for example, or you water too long, or you're not giving the lawn time to dry out, and you, on top of that, have a lot of muggy weather, you're going to create a breeding ground for that lawn rust. So one way you can subside it, if you will, is to have your watering in check. Make sure you're watering deep and infrequent, watering in the mornings, and allowing time in between waterings for the lawn to dry out. Very important. Make sure your cultural practices are in play. Another video we made where we talked about what makes a great lawn, and that is great cultural practices. So make sure those are all in play before you do anything else. Another thing you can do is you can get down a fast release high nitrogen fertilizer like the 2406 flagship that we carry. You can put that down at 3 pounds per thousand. That'll give you 0.72 pounds of nitrogen, just under 3/4 pound there. And you get a little bit of fast release, a little bit of slow release out of that, or you can go the liquid route with the 1801 Green Punch or the 2600. Put those down anywhere from 20 to 24 ounces per thousand. That'll also give you enough nitrogen to help push the lawn through this lawn rust problem. Now, if you want to take it a little step further, I recommend getting down a fungicide application, one of my favorite routes to go. And we're actually doing this for a lot of our customers right now because we also have a local spray business here. And it's something that my DIY friends can do as well with the products that we have on jakethelawn.net, is you could take some azoxystrobin and propiconazole and mix them together. You have two different modes of actions going on with those fungicides. You can get that down, and that will literally stop the lawn rust in its tracks. Now, I recommend doing this in conjunction with the high nitrogen fertilizer. As a matter of fact, we do this in our business a lot as well. We run we run a couple of different things per round. We don't just do fungicide. We don't just do a weed control. We address everything that's going on in the lawn right then and there. So we get down our fertilizer to address the growth concerns. We get down our fungicide to address the fungus. And if there's any weeds growing, we will go ahead and spray for those weeds as well with the appropriate weed control for that time. So I recommend taking that kind of approach when dealing with diseases like lawn rust.